The American frontier of the Old West captivates us with its tales of adventure and myth. From the Great Plains to the Southwest and beyond, the legends of outlaws, gunslingers, and dramatic shootouts have become ingrained in our culture. While some of these stories are rooted in reality, others have been embellished over time. For over 2 centuries, the frontier's myths have endured in American lore. However, what was daily life truly like during this era? Beyond the well-known figures of sheriffs and bandits, the Great West was populated by a diverse array of individuals, everyday laborers, ranchers, cowboys, and saloon workers, each seeking their own forms of recreation and entertainment. Life on the frontier was not solely defined by lawless and banditry. Everyday people in the Old West pursued leisure activities that ranged from ordinary to captivating, and sometimes even unsettling. The frontier's relative lack of formal law enforcement allowed for a degree of freedom not found in more settled regions of the country. As a result, the leisure pursuits of these frontier dwellers often reflected this environment. In exploring the history of the Old West, we uncover intriguing insights into the 12 leisure activities that offered respite and enjoyment to its inhabitants. 12. Brothels. Brothels were a familiar sight in frontier towns during the 19th century Old West. Despite prostitution being officially illegal, enforcement was often lax due to the scarcity of lawmen in these rugged territories. Laborers, miners, and transient workers, hardened by their daily toils, sought companionship and entertainment after hours and were willing to pay for it. The women who worked in these brothels, known as soiled doves or sportin' women, eagerly catered to these desires, motivated by the prospect of substantial earnings. As the frontier expanded and towns developed, brothels emerged as bustling hubs much like saloons, attracting a diverse clientele, including migrant laborers, cowboys, and even outlaws. For a fee, men could easily find pleasure and companionship. Operating brothels was one of the few avenues through which frontier women could earn income and exert some autonomy in a predominantly male-dominated society. By the late 19th century, many frontier boomtowns openly flaunted their red light districts. In an infamous example, the 1895 Traveler's Guide of Colorado unabashedly listed numerous brothels operating in the state, providing detailed information for prospective clients. This guide functioned akin to a Yelp for its time, albeit with a decidedly adult focus. However, the reality of the brothel industry in the Old West was far from glamorous. Countless women faced perilous health risks, including childbirth complications and venereal diseases, as a consequence of their work in brothels. Many others endured mistreatment and violence at the hands of clients. While some brothel madams amassed considerable wealth, these success stories were exceptional. For most women, life in the frontier brothels was marked by exploitation and hardship. 11. Going to saloons. No comprehensive discussion of life in the Old West would overlook the prominence of alcohol. Drinking culture was central to frontier existence, with saloons serving as vital community hubs and social gathering spots, primarily for men. Women were typically excluded from saloons unless they were employed as working girls offering their services. The saloon atmosphere was characterized by its boisterous, rowdy, and often perilous nature. Saloons attracted a diverse clientele of men from various backgrounds, including soldiers, miners, farm laborers, outlaws, and lawmen. These establishments often featured live music, card games, and gambling to entertain patrons. Additionally, many saloons doubled as brothels, with working girls conducting business upstairs while customers indulged in alcohol downstairs. The proliferation of saloons was remarkable in frontier settlements. For instance, the modest town of Livingston, Montana, once boasted an astonishing 35 saloons despite having just 3,000 residents, a testament to the demand for alcohol and social gathering places. Whiskey was the favored libation of choice in these establishments, although the quality was markedly different from modern standards. Frontier whiskey was often harsh and crudely concocted, typically comprising raw alcohol mixed with burnt sugar, chewing tobacco, or other additives. Aside from whiskey, frontier saloons offered a range of unconventional alcoholic beverages. Some establishments served cactus wine, a blend of tequila and peyote tea, while others provided straight rye liquor and tepid beer. The most audacious drinkers could opt for rotgut, an appalling concoction consisting of 100-proof liquor spiked with substances like turpentine, ammonia, pepper, or even gunpowder. Cheers to the adventurous spirit of the Old West's imbibers. 10. Gambling. In the bustling gathering places of the Old West, where men congregated in large numbers, certain indulgences inevitably followed. Alongside drinking and prostitution, gambling emerged as a prevalent pastime. Saloons actively encouraged gambling as it kept patrons engaged and purchasing drinks. Some establishments even employed staff to manage card tables, ensuring customers remained seated and entertained throughout the night. Men eagerly wagered their earnings on high-stakes card games like blackjack and a variety of other games of chance. The types of gambling games varied depending on the region and era. Popular games included Chuck-a-Luck, three-card Monte, high dice, and faro, each contributing to the lively atmosphere of frontier saloons. Over the decades, gambling thrived in boom towns, often with local law enforcement turning a blind eye until violence escalated beyond tolerance. Predictably, disputes arising from gambling frequently turned deadly. Arguments over hands of cards, accusations of cheating, or disputes over bets could swiftly escalate into fatal confrontations, as men accustomed to swift and decisive action often resorted to gunfire to settle disputes. Historians today view gambling as an intrinsic aspect of frontier life. Many settlers arrived in the West seeking rapid wealth through mining, prospecting, or ranching, trading the relative tranquility of Eastern life for the promise of prosperity in burgeoning boomtowns. Coupled with the prevalent use of firearms, the ambiance around gambling tables was charged with excitement and risk. Regrettably, countless incidents underscored the perilous consequences of gambling, illustrating how this seemingly innocuous diversion could swiftly turn deadly in the untamed expanses of the Wild West. 9. Rodeos. Rodeos have a rich history that traces back centuries to practices in current-day Mexico initiated by conquistadors and indigenous peoples. However, it was in the Old West where rodeos truly flourished. The first public rodeo in America took place in 1852, organized by a group of Texans, and it immediately captivated frontier communities. From then on, rodeos became immensely popular throughout the 19th century, attracting crowds in both formal and informal settings within boomtowns. These events provided opportunities for frontier men to gather, revel, and partake in various cowboy-inspired spectacles, including bullfighting, roping, steer wrestling, and more. Central to the allure of rodeos were the renowned bucking bulls, initially promoted as the main attraction in Texas. Over time, additional ranch skills transformed into competitive events within rodeos, such as roping, wrestling, lasso tricks, horse racing, bullfighting, and bronco bucking. As the popularity of rodeos soared, they began to tour beyond the confines of the Old West, captivating refined audiences on the East Coast. Frontier legends like Bill Pickett and Buffalo Bill recognized the lucrative potential and embarked on national tours, showcasing rodeo extravaganzas across America and reaping substantial financial rewards. The widespread appeal of rodeo continued to grow over the years, captivating millions across the nation and evolving into a cherished tradition that endures today through modern rodeos and stock shows. The legacy of the Old West's spirited rodeo culture remains alive, celebrating the enduring spirit of cowboy tradition and frontier athleticism. 8. Attending minstrel shows. Throughout the Old West, Clashes between American settlers and indigenous populations were frequent and often brutal. Native American tribes of the Great Plains and Hispanic communities in the Southwest faced displacement from their ancestral lands due to relentless expansion by American pioneers. Unfortunately, along with their westward movement, pioneers brought with them deeply ingrained racial prejudices that manifested in various forms, notably in the popular entertainment of the era, the minstrel show. Minstrel shows, defined by modern historians as theatrical performances that comically portrayed racial stereotypes, gained immense popularity during this period. While not originating in the West, minstrel shows found a particularly receptive audience in frontier boomtowns. Traveling actors, adorned in blackface makeup, depicted derogatory caricatures of Black, Hispanic, and Native American identities. Despite being viewed today as offensive relics of a troubling era in American history, these shows were eagerly attended by pioneers seeking cheap amusement in the absence of established cultural institutions. The roots of minstrelsy trace back to the 1830s in the eastern United States, before spreading rapidly across the expanding frontier. By the mid-19th century, Western minstrel shows tailored their performances to the perceived lawlessness and exoticism of frontier life. Elaborate costumes and makeup perpetuated harmful stereotypes of indigenous and Hispanic cultures, showcasing technically intricate performances that included songs, dances, burlesque acts, and even opera sequences. However, the racially exploitative nature of these shows is deeply disturbing when viewed through a contemporary lens. Fortunately, minstrel shows eventually fell out of favor as societal attitudes evolved, and awareness grew regarding the harmful impact of such depictions. Yet, their prevalence and cultural significance in the Old West serve as a stark reminder of the harsh realities and pervasive prejudices that characterized life during that tumultuous period of American history. 7. Animal fighting. The Wild West was indeed a harsh and unforgiving environment. In addition to the mistreatment of women in brothels and the prevalent violence in saloons, the cruelty of frontier life extended to the treatment of animals, which became a common source of entertainment through organized animal fighting. Dogfights and cockfights were among the most sought-after diversions in the Old West, often attracting paying spectators looking for excitement and gambling opportunities. In certain boomtowns, event organizers went to great lengths to create spectacles around animal fighting. They constructed makeshift wooden grandstands and outlined fighting arenas with chicken wire to contain the aggressive combatants. Roosters and dogs were pitted against each other in brutal matches that were usually short and ultimately fatal. Despite the inherent cruelty, these events drew substantial crowds, with promoters profiting significantly from ticket sales fueled by the morbid fascination of spectators. Moving further west, bear and bull fighting emerged as popular sports in 19th century California. Unlike the perceived insignificance of roosters and dogs, pioneers in California sought larger and more formidable opponents, leading to the capture of California grizzly bears from the wild. These captured bears were then forced into pits where they faced off against raging bulls in fights that inevitably resulted in death for one of the combatants. While bear fights were not a new concept, echoes of similar spectacles can be traced back to ancient Roman times. The uniquely brutal nature of California's bear and bull fights contributed significantly to the decimation of the state's grizzly bear population, ultimately driving them to extinction due to the relentless pursuit of such cruel and exploitative entertainment. 6. Attending circuses. The Old West was a fertile ground for the development and popularity of circus acts, blending elements of rodeos, minstrel shows, and medicine shows into a unique and captivating form of entertainment. Early circuses, akin to what we now recognize as the greatest show on earth, swiftly gained traction across the frontier, featuring a diverse array of attractions that would later become staples of the circus industry. Russian Cossack horsemen thrilled audiences with daring displays under the expansive big top, while trapeze artists dazzled Western crowds with their aerial feats. Animal acts also held a particular allure, adding excitement and spectacle to these traveling shows. Prominent circus companies like the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey tailored their acts to resonate with pioneer audiences, drawing immense crowds whenever they rolled into town via the railways. The legacy of these early circuses endures in the American psyche, evoking a distinctive image of grandeur and adventure. Beyond traditional circuses, the late 18th century saw the emergence of innovative shows pioneered by figures like Buffalo Bill. This longtime cowboy transformed the circus concept by infusing it with a distinctly pioneer ethos, combining exotic animals, rodeo events, and Western culture under a sprawling big top. Buffalo Bill actively promoted pioneer values and nostalgia by featuring Native American performers reenacting frontier history and showcasing ranch hands, demonstrating horse tricks, and bison runs to captivated Eastern audiences. As the frontier gradually transitioned towards settlement and civilization, Buffalo Bill's performances continued to resonate with audiences well into the 20th century, serving as a testament to the enduring appeal of Old West reenactments and the rich cultural legacy of the American frontier. 5. Medicine shows. Medicine shows were another form of traveling entertainment that made their mark in the Old West alongside minstrel shows. In an era where access to health care was limited, the arrival of a doctor or self-proclaimed miracle worker in town promising cures for common ailments attracted significant attention from the local populace. These medicine shows were characterized by the setting up of tents where charlatans and peddlers showcased their products, often exaggerating their effectiveness through engaging sales pitches. Over time, the allure of medicine shows extended beyond the promise of health remedies to become a form of entertainment in their own right. The sales pitches evolved into elaborate spectacles designed to captivate audiences, with the entertainment value often overshadowing the actual efficacy of the products being promoted. Frontier settlers eagerly attended these shows, drawn by the novelty and excitement they offered amidst the rugged and often monotonous frontier life. As settlements expanded further westward, so did the reach of traveling medicine shows. These events became increasingly elaborate, incorporating additional attractions such as burlesque performances, pie-eating contests, and even traditional dog and pony shows. Beyond mere entertainment, however, the primary objective of these shows remained commercial, with salesmanship driving the profitability of the enterprise. According to modern historical research, medicine shows were a lucrative industry, reportedly generating nearly $100 million in annual revenue across the western frontier during the 19th century. This substantial figure underscores the significant role these traveling health revivals played in both shaping entertainment culture and driving economic activity in frontier communities during a pivotal period of American history. 4. Playing recreational sports. The Old West was characterized by a strong emphasis on traditional masculinity, with women largely marginalized from active participation in society. As a result, leisure and entertainment activities often revolved around stereotypically masculine pursuits, reflecting the rugged and competitive nature of pioneer culture. Manly games and competitions flourished, encompassing a diverse range of activities that appealed to frontier men. Competitions in the Old West took on various forms, from rock drilling contests and steamboat racing to axe throwing, rifle and revolver shooting, log rolling, and wagon racing. When wagons proved too slow for the thrill-seeking participants, horse racing emerged as a favored alternative, showcasing the frontier's affinity for speed and daring. These spirited competitions not only provided entertainment for participants, but also captivated spectators, who often indulged in alcohol and gambling while cheering on their favorite contenders. Moreover, these manly sporting endeavors played a pivotal role in fostering a sense of community and local pride within burgeoning frontier towns, where certain individuals became celebrated for their athletic prowess and towns gained reputations for producing sporting icons. The legacy of these frontier sports endures to this day, with many traditional competitions passed down through generations. Notably, in February 2022, hundreds of modern cowboys converged in Phoenix, Arizona, to participate in a shooting challenge with roots dating back to the mid-19th century. This enduring connection to the glory and spirit of the Old West underscores the timeless appeal of these frontier traditions, which continue to resonate with contemporary enthusiasts seeking to relive the adventurous and competitive ethos of their predecessors. 3. Public hangings. Throughout history, public executions have served as a prominent method of showcasing authority and enforcing laws. Rulers and ancient societies alike have utilized public spectacles of punishment to demonstrate the consequences of breaking the law. The lawless of the Old West drew parallels to these historical practices, leading to the widespread acceptance of public hangings as a form of frontier justice on the expansive American frontier. In the absence of consistent law enforcement, sheriffs often relied on public hangings to boost public morale and instill a sense of safety among settlers. Catching and executing notorious criminals like train robbers or horse thieves became a celebrated achievement for local lawmen, who grappled with the challenges of maintaining order in remote and often lawless territories. For settlers, witnessing a convicted criminal being hanged in public not only provided a sense of closure and safety, but also offered a morbid diversion from the monotony of frontier life. Public hangings in the Wild West were elaborate and theatrical affairs. The condemned individual would be paraded through town from the jailhouse to the gallows, surrounded by lawmen while enduring insults and even projectiles from onlookers. Upon reaching the gallows, the sheriff would administer last rites before the executioner employed a specially crafted hangman's noose made from sturdy rope. The public execution would then proceed amidst the cheers and jeers of the assembled crowd, symbolizing another measure of justice in an otherwise lawless environment. During the 19th century, public hangings were commonplace across the American West, with numerous legal executions and additional instances of extrajudicial lynchings recorded. In the 1850s, a California town briefly adopted the name Hangtown to commemorate the frequent public executions held there. Despite the shocking nature of these public spectacles, they garnered significant popularity among frontier residents, serving as a stark reminder of the harsh realities and unique forms of justice that defined life in the Wild West. 2. Baseball. It might be surprising to think that baseball, now considered America's national pastime, had its roots intertwined with the pioneering spirit of the Wild West. The game was invented by Alexander Cartwright in the mid-19th century, just as news of the California gold rush spread across the country. Eager to join the thousands flocking to California, Cartwright brought baseball with him on his journey westward. To his delight, he found that Western settlers embraced the sport with as much enthusiasm as their counterparts in the more established eastern cities. While professional baseball was not yet widespread in frontier towns, amateur teams began to emerge in the late 19th century. These grassroots baseball clubs organized barnstorming tours, traveling across the Western territories to compete against teams from other small towns. These contests were not only about sport, but also about local pride, and often involved substantial gambling among spectators. Even legendary figures of the Wild West, like Wild Bill Hickok, developed a fondness for baseball. In 1869, a pivotal moment in baseball history occurred on the Great Plains with the formation of the Cincinnati Red Stockings, America's first professional baseball team. The Red Stockings embarked on a groundbreaking national tour, playing exhibition games for profit. As they journeyed westward, stopping in cities like St. Louis, Teams from as far as California eagerly challenged them on the field. This barnstorming tour not only captured the imagination of fans, but also laid the foundation for the future of organized baseball. The overwhelming popularity of the Cincinnati Red Stockings tour played a significant role in the growth and formalization of baseball into what would later become Major League Baseball, MLB. Meanwhile, the game continued to spread organically among settlers throughout the Western Territories, ultimately becoming a beloved pastime played in communities across the vast expanse of the American frontier. This convergence of baseball and the Wild West underscored the sport's enduring appeal and cultural significance within the fabric of American society. 1. Watching prizefighting. Boxing emerged as a popular form of entertainment and outlet for recreation in the Old West, offering a simple yet compelling activity that required minimal equipment and space. Given the era's pervasive violence and aggressive atmosphere, boxing naturally appealed to frontier men seeking physical competition and excitement. Boxing matches became highly anticipated events, often drawing sold-out crowds in frontier towns. Even iconic figures of the Wild West, like Wyatt Earp of OK Corral fame, became involved in boxing late in life, transitioning to refereeing matches and becoming synonymous with the West Coast boxing scene by the late 19th century. In California, towns routinely sold thousands of tickets to these quasi-legal boxing matches, underscoring the sport's immense popularity. As expected, boxing bouts frequently descended into rowdy and chaotic affairs, with attendees indulging in heavy drinking and gambling. Inevitably, these events sometimes spiraled out of control, leading to skirmishes among spectators both inside and outside the ring. Despite attempts by sheriffs to curb the excesses of boxing promoters by outlawing public fights in various frontier towns, many promoters and fans remained undeterred, continuing to support illegal matches. Resourceful promoters capitalized on legal loopholes to circumvent restrictions on boxing. In towns where boxing was prohibited, event organizers cleverly staged theatrical performances featuring staged fights as part of the play. This creative tactic allowed spectators to enjoy sanctioned displays of organized violence within the bounds of the law, demonstrating the enduring appeal and ingenuity of frontier entertainment during the 19th century. If you enjoyed learning about these fascinating pastimes, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more captivating insights into history and culture. Stay tuned for more engaging content that explores the rich tapestry of human experiences throughout the ages. Remember, the Wild West may be a bygone era, but its legacy continues to resonate in the stories and traditions that shape our collective imagination. Subscribe now to embark on a journey through time with us.